Review. The Attorney General orders an investigation into gun background checks weeks after we learned about the system breakdown that allowed the Texas church shooter to buy his weapons.
Paying it forward, the holiday story of a homeless man who came to the rescue of a woman on the highway and how she's paying him back this Thanksgiving.
That changes my life right there.
$1,764.
That changes my life.
Weight loss secret, the spice that could help keep you from packing on extra pounds this Thanksgiving. The research out this morning.
We're just hours away from those balloons hitting the skies for the 91st annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and security is pretty tight for one of the biggest events on this holiday.
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Some nice gloves you got there.
Who are you wearing? Mickey Mouse's finest. Good morning, a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Let's start with Washington, though. The growing scandals rocking D.C., both sides of the aisle, from sexual harassment to lewd images.
Texas Congressman Joe Barton is apologizing after someone posted a nude selfie of him online. Now the Washington Post is reporting new details of a, quote, secret sex life and why the congressman says he could be the victim of a crime.
In the meantime, Michigan Congressman John Conyers says he will not be stepping down amid harassment claims. His lawyer is actually citing allegations against President Trump. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is in D.C. for us on this holiday. Steph, literally every day this week, another scandal out of there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Candace. And new apologies now tied to these sexual harassment claims as more accusers continue to come forward.
New sexual harassment claims are consuming Capitol Hill. The latest lawmaker to be accused of inappropriate behavior is Republican Congressman Joe Barton of Texas. An unidentified woman tells the Washington Post Barton threatened to report her to Capitol Police if she exposed their relationship, including private photos and intimate messages. Barton has apologized for the graphic photo of himself that's been circulating on social media and confirms he took it and sent it. But in a statement, Barton says he sent the image to other adult women he was pursuing a relationship with while separated from his wife. He acknowledges he had a consensual relationship, adding that this woman threatened to make his private photos public in retaliation. Also in the House, there are accusations against Democrat John Conyers, the longest-serving member of the House and a civil rights leader. BuzzFeed reports 2 different women accused him of sexual misconduct. Conyers denies the charges but did reach a settlement of more than $27,000 with a former employee who said he repeatedly asked for sexual favors. Conyers' lawyer says in a statement, if people were required to resign over allegations, a lot of people would be out of work in this country, including the president. In an attempt to discredit the claims, Conyers' lawyer says too much time has passed.
And the accusations don't stop there. 2 more women tell the Huffington Post they were violated by Senator Al Franken decades ago at political events. That would be 4 allegations against Franken right now. And in a statement to the Huffington Post, Franken says it's difficult to respond to anonymous accusers and he doesn't remember those campaign events. Candace, Diane.
Yeah, so far he said he has no plans to step down. Stephanie Ramos from D.C. Thanks, Stephanie.
In the meantime, President Trump's near endorsement of Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore is now being used in fundraising emails. The president refused to side with the women who accused Moore of sexually harassing or assaulting them while they were teenagers. Moore tells supporters that he appreciates the president defending his honor and character. The fundraising emails also cite the president's criticism of Moore's Democratic opponent, Doug Jones, who has released a new campaign ad naming each of Moore's accusers.
Gina Richardson, Wendy Miller, Kelly Harrison Thorpe, and the list is growing. They were girls when Roy Moore immorally pursued them.
And then there's this. Moore's communications director has now resigned, but the campaign insists it had nothing to do with the allegations.
And authorities in France say they have foiled a holiday terror plot. Local media report 6 people have been arrested for planning an attack on the Christmas market in the city of Reims. It's unclear how imminent that threat was. Police are on alert following the truck attack at the Christmas market in Berlin last year. that left 12 people dead.
The U.S. Navy is expanding the search for 3 sailors who were missing after that plane crash in the Pacific. The transport plane was carrying 11 people when it crashed Wednesday. 8 were rescued. They're all in good condition this morning on board the USS Ronald Reagan that you see there. The Navy says that so far, ships and planes have searched more than 320 nautical miles for those missing sailors.
And in Southeast Asia, the U.S. government has declared the military violence in Myanmar ethnic cleansing. But Secretary of State Rex Tillerson stopped short of calling it genocide. More than 600,000 Muslims, known as Rohingya, have fled to neighborhood in Bangladesh to escape prosecution. Now, the U.S. is threatening to impose sanctions on officials taking part in that brutal crackdown.
The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, has ordered the FBI and the ATF to review the system that's used to conduct background checks on gun buyers. His order to review the national database comes after the Air Force failed to report the criminal history of the gunman who killed 26 people at that church in Texas this month. Sessions calls that failure alarming and unacceptable.
An estimated 3 million people are expected to line the route of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade here in New York, and security will be on high alert. Dozens of trash trucks filled with sand will be used as barriers to protect that route. Those trucks weigh 32 tons when they're full. Also, today's officers with assault weapons and radiation detectors will be walking among the crowds, and sharpshooters will be positioned on rooftops to scan windows and balconies along the route for anything unusual. The police commissioner says security is tightened every year.
There's going to be thousands of cops there. You'll see canine police officers. You'll see people from the Critical Response Command, from the SRG. You'll see the mounted unit. You'll see thousands of uniformed personnel tomorrow keeping us safe. There'll be
Also, don't be surprised to see officers standing by on every block along that 2.5-mile parade route.
All right, well, time now for a look at your weather on this Thanksgiving morning.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. It's pretty quiet across much of the nation. Notice in the northwest, though, more rain pushing along into Interstate 5 for Seattle and Portland, and also some heavy rain creeping from west to east across the state of Florida. But it is the chill in the northeast that keeps these temperatures below average. 39 for the high in Albany. New York City coming in at just 44. You'll need a sweater for that backyard football game. And heading to the southwest, it's the opposite story. 92 in Los Angeles. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constanzer.
And the holiday shopping rush is already underway. Coming up, how long one man has been waiting outside of Best Buy just for a big screen TV.
But first, Facebook comes up with a new way for you to figure out if the article you're reading is fake news.
And why a major hotel has decided to dump Trump from its name. We're back now with some new details about that police detective shot and killed in Baltimore last week. We're now learning that he was scheduled to testify the next day against his fellow officers. Detective Sean Suter was set to appear before a grand jury looking into police corruption. Suter was killed at close range with his own gun. The shooter is still at large. A $215,000 reward is offered for information leading to an arrest. This is the longest it's taken to solve a Baltimore police shooting death since the 1960s. 10 states are now opposing the Trump administration's plan to more than double the entrance fees at national parks. The attorneys general that is, from those states wrote a letter arguing that the increase would put access to the parks, including the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, and Yellowstone, out of reach for many Americans. The letter has no legal standing, but the states may take legal action in the future.
Well, after the fallout from the fake news scandal during the election, Facebook is adding a new tool to its site that'll let users know when they've come in contact with Russian propaganda. The tool is expected to be available on Facebook and Instagram by the end of the year. A major hotel here in New York is dropping the name Trump from its title. The Trump Soho luxury hotel and condo building has struggled to attract businesses since it first opened more than 10 years ago and was introduced on the set of The Apprentice. Trump Organization says the hotel ownership has agreed to drop the Trump name by the end of the year.
And it may be Thanksgiving, but the First Lady is already gearing up for Christmas. Melania Trump shared photos of herself decking the halls of the White House. She's doing the traditional decorating, but some asked, why she's wearing a coat
Indoors.
inside the White House
Different
in
coats.
almost every photo. It's a little chilly in the White House, I suppose.
I guess. So Black Friday, of course, hours away, but the holiday shopping frenzy is already happening. A man in Texas has been waiting in line outside Best Buy since Saturday. He brought his tent to camp out. Also, he could get a deal. Also, he can get a deal on a big screen TV.
Oh.
Don't you have to work though, or are you off?
I had to work, but we are 4 of us, so we switch in between 6 of us.
Hey, all right, makes sense. His neighbors have now joined him. They're staying in his smaller tent outside the store. Just imagine he goes in there at midnight, grabs a TV, accidentally trips on the way out.
No. I have faith. He's going to get the deal.
Yep.
He's earned it. All right, coming up, the spice you can add to your Thanksgiving meal that will keep you from gaining weight.
But first, the former doctor for the U.S. gymnastics team pleads guilty to assaulting girls. What he said in court.
And later, forget the turkey. See the 3 bears who wanted tacos. The emotional moment in court when former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar pleaded guilty to assaulting several young girls. Nassar's plea deal calls for him to spend at least 25 years in prison. When he's sentenced in January, his accusers will get the chance to address him. The judge says Nassar abused children in the most vile way.
Guilty as stated, Your Honor.
The former doctor for gymnastics' brightest stars has pleaded guilty to 7 counts of criminal sexual conduct. 3 of Larry Nassar's victims were under 13 years old.
I'm so horribly sorry that this was like a match that turned into a forest fire out of control.
Beyond the criminal case, at least 125 women have accused Nassar of sexually assaulting them under the guise of medical treatments. Olympic all-around champion Gabby Douglas is now the latest athlete to say she was abused by Nassar, posting, "For years we were conditioned to stay silent." Her gold medal teammates Michaela Maroney and Allie Raisman have also recently come forward.
What did USA Gymnastics do and Larry Nassar do to manipulate these girls so much that they are so afraid to speak up?
USA Gymnastics says they're very sorry that any athlete was harmed by Larry Nassar, adding the organization reported him to the FBI in 2015. After his guilty plea, Raisman tweeted, "Larry is a monster, not a doctor." Nassar is now expected to plead guilty to additional abuse charges next week. He'll also be sentenced next month in a child pornography case.
If you love cinnamon, consider adding an extra shake to your favorite holiday pie or hot drink. That's because researchers now say that the essential oil that gives cinnamon its flavor can boost your metabolism and help you burn fat. They tested that oil on human cells and found that it increased activity in the genes, enzymes, and the proteins known to boost metabolism rates.
A little mac and cheese, a little cinnamon. Good to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have cinnamon with a side of mac and cheese today. Police in California chased away some hairy characters on a late-night food run. There they are, 3 bears, no Goldilocks, seen outside a Taco Bell in Tahoe City. Sheriff ended their search for a burrito. He saw them, yelled out, "What are you guys doing?" And the bears bolted.
That's all it took?
Listen, they know.
It would take more than that to get me away from a burrito.
Oh, really?
All right, turning now to sports, and the Vikings and Lions kick off the Thanksgiving football feast at 12:30 Eastern.
As for last night's action, here's ESPN.
Good morning, America. It's a little bit like the Thanksgiving meal. You can't have too much of a good thing. I give you the Celtics.
Yep, 16 in a row. But all good things come to an end. Kyrie Irving and the Celtics in Miami take on the Heat. Jaylen Brown, Euro step, pulls the Celtics within 5. Deion Waiters gets a 3. Heat go back up 7. Ensuing Celtics possession, Kyrie Irving trying to will them to a victory. Had 23 points. And listen, how to get that shot off. 2 defenders in the area. Celtics down 5. Too much Waiters. Team with Goran Dragic to get the job done. Streak over.
Final this under things that probably shouldn't have happened. Number 2 Arizona taking on North Carolina State in the Bahamas. Alonzo Trier trying to pull his team back in this. Trier for Arizona, 27 points, 24 of them in the second half. But NC State, late run in the second half. Braxton Beverly, go ahead 3. NC State went on a 13-1 run with 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And they take down number 2 Arizona 90-84. the final. My public service announcement to all: do not deep fry a frozen turkey. You are welcome.
Never a good idea. Happy Thanksgiving. Back to you.
All right, happy Thanksgiving as well. And coming up, the new balloons making their debut at the big parade today.
Also ahead, giving thanks. How a kind gesture from a homeless man turned into a life-changing moment.
Plus, a 102-year-old man who survived the Holocaust meets the family he never thought he had. Time for your Thanksgiving pulse, starting with a homeless man's generosity gift to a woman that's now changing his life.
Kate McClure's car ran out of gas on a highway when she was on her way to Philadelphia. Johnny Bobbitt, who's homeless, saw Kate in distress, so he walked to the gas station and used his last $20 to buy her a can of gas. Kate then set up a GoFundMe page for Johnny, and people from all over started donating money.
As of right now, we have that much. Right there. $1,760.
That changes my life right there.
$1,764.
That changes my life. The $769.
So get this, that $1,700 is now over $112,000. That's a life changer right there.
And Johnny is a he's a veteran. He also used to be a firefighter, and so you heard him say, if the $1,700 could change his life around, wait till he sees the total sum.
Yeah.
And a 102-year-old man who survived the Holocaust thought his entire family had died in World War II until this week when he met the nephew he never knew he had.
And it was an emotional reunion. Watch as it plays out right here for Eliyahu Petrushka and his 66-year-old nephew, Alexander. One that almost never actually happened, this reunion. It turns out Eliyahu's brother did survive, but died 6 years ago.
Now, before he died, he had filled out a questionnaire on a Holocaust survivor database.
Oh, wow.
Then Eliyahu's grandson recently did a search online and found that document and noticed that it had a phone number.
There is non-trivial chance that he's still alive, and there is a telephone number on the page. A few minutes and he's on the line, and he realizes who we are, and we realize that he is the son, Alexander.
Well, Alexander traveled from Russia to Israel to meet his uncle. He says their reunion is nothing short of miraculous.
As for Eliyahu, he says the reunion fulfilled a lifelong dream.
That's great.
And you might want to count your blessings this Thanksgiving instead of the calories.
Oh, okay. So the average Thanksgiving meal comes with a whopping 3,000 calories. That's an average. And that does not include alcohol or appetizers. Adding a few drinks and apps can put the number closer to 4,500 calories.
So when it comes to dinner conversations, a new poll finds 63% of us are hoping to avoid politics at the table.
So no talking about...
But now we know if we just add some cinnamon, we're fine.
We're fine.
And finally, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will feature some new balloons this year.
Yeah, so they include Dr. Seuss's Grinch, Olaf from the smash movie Frozen, Disney, and a puppy called Chase from Nickelodeon's Paw Patrol. It'll be fun to watch. They look great, as far as I can tell.
Checking our top stories, Texas Congressman Joe Barton has apologized for sending a nude to Capitol Police because she could expose his secret sex life. Barton says he could be the victim of a crime.
An attorney for Congressman John Conyers is invoking the sexual misconduct allegations against President Trump as justification for Conyers' decision not to resign. Conyers is accused of harassing at least 3 women.
The Navy is expanding the search for 3 sailors missing after a plane crash in the Pacific. 8 people rescued shortly after the crash are in good condition.
Checking the Thanksgiving Day weather, some showers in the southeast, sunny across the middle of the country. More heavy rain and mountain snow in the northwest, but it'll be hot in the southwest. 75 in Orlando, not bad for Thanksgiving.
Nope, and finally, for many families today, Thanksgiving is all about everyone being under one roof.
Well, yes, as far as you know, you have some 50 million people will be hitting the roads. 28 million will be hitting the air, which will make for many happy reunions at airports.
She's awesome.
At Mitchell International Airport in Milwaukee, Cher Miller waited 11 months for this moment. Her daughter Heather will be home for Thanksgiving.
I haven't seen them for a while. It's been too many months. January.
Tradition, I mean, just being together, everything to us.
I wouldn't be anywhere else but with my mother and the rest of my family.
How you doing there?
At Reagan National in Washington, D.C.
Look for Aunt Caitlin.
It's the surprise Aunt Caitlin never saw coming. The best Thanksgiving welcome anyone on the inbound Asheville flight received. All day long, the scene repeated. Hug after hug, smile after smile. Each person just happy to be with family.
Oh, I feel great. I miss my baby so much.
And it wasn't just humans giving love, dogs as well. Everyone happy to be here.
I'm grateful for family and love.
I have to come see my baby.
Gloria Bourne came all the way from Texas to see her daughter.
I was kind of nervous, but I'm happy she's here.
But her daughter Irene forgot one thing.
So like I just moved into my new place. I tried to make sure I cleaned up because I knew my bed isn't made, but I tried to make sure things were straight.
It's the effort that counts. This time, Mom gives a pass.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's okay as long as you made it home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You made it, and that is all that matters.
And of course, just a few blocks from where we are is one of the biggest parades of the year. Right there on the Upper West Side overnight, they were getting the balloons ready. 2.5 miles of just happy